Hey everybody, welcome to the MakeCode Arcade Advanced stream. I'm Shannon at Shakao on the MakeCode forums.
I'm Richard at Richard on the MakeCode forums.
I'm Vivian at Live Cheerful at the MakeCode forum.
So today we are just making a game, and I had an idea for a thing that I wanted to try, which was a game where you start with a randomly generated character. So this is, I think, maybe technically procedural generation.
Yeah, take it.
Sorry?
Yeah, I said, yeah, take it as the procedural generation. I think it counts.
Cool. So what is procedural generation?
Oh, so it's kind of, instead of the normal way of kind of writing your own assets, you go through a process to create them using algorithms or different procedures. And so you can end up making a lot of cool, just randomly generated art instead of having to draw it all yourselves. And you could probably give a better definition than I can because you've done a lot more stuff with procedural generation than I have.
No, that sounds great. Yeah, it's just like using randomness to, randomness and programming to make art, games, whatever. Cool. So I'm just laying in some base code. I made a player sprite, and I guess I'll have the camera follow them. And I'm moving the player with buttons. And so what I'm going to do, my plan is to create a bunch of templates for the player and then to pick some random colors to fill in that template. So we're going to start with maybe like 3 different bases that you could have, and then we're gonna do some colors. So I'm gonna put an image in this one and an image in this one, and then I think people are hard to draw, so I'm gonna make like a creature. And the other randomly generated parts, I think, is I wanted these guys to have names. Maybe we'll select from a list of names and personality traits.
Mm-hmm. We should also do favorite foods.
Oh,
because
yes.
if you've ever played Earthbound or one of the games in that series, when you're creating your character, it always asks you the question, what is your favorite thing and what is your favorite food? Oh. And it gets used in the game. So it's very charming. Good game.
All right.
Richard, what's your favorite food?
My stock answer is usually chicken enchiladas because they're delicious.
Vivian, what's your
love.
I feel like noodles in general. I love noodles. So good. But thicker noodles. The more noodles, the better.
Like the wide flat ones, or?
Yeah. If you have the hand pulled ones that are super thick or hand shaved. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Love.
Shannon, you got complimented on your drawing skills in the chat.
Oh, thanks. All right, so I'm just gonna so we're using 2 colors right now. And I have a reason for that, but I'm just giving this guy some spots. Maybe it'll be like moss. I don't know if this is gonna read from far away, but
I really like it. Of all the colors in our palette, I really like how those 2 purples work together.
Oh, yes, but we are changing them.
Yeah, I know, but.
So actually, let me do this first. I'm going to, in here, we have an array of 1, but I will, regardless, pick a random element from it. So I'm going to get the value at a random number between the length of the array minus 1. So let me put this all together. So this is getting the value at a random number. And cool. This is player base, and this is also player base. So cool. All right. So there's our friend.
Oh, cute.
And then I'm going to go down to the image and I'm going to change color in picture. So I'm going to leave the white and the black. And this is going to be player image, and I'm going to change the dark purple to, let's just start with a random color. We'll see. I think we're going to need to make some changes to this. And then I'm going to change the light purple to, and then this is just going to be 15 is black.
Yes, and 1 is white.
14. And I'm also going to set a background color just so it's easier to see. Pick like a tan. All right. Okay, so full screen. If I refresh a couple times, you'll see.
Camouflage.
Oh, this is great.
This is actually better than I thought it would be. So, okay. So a thing I was thinking is, you'll notice, actually, let me open the Sprite editor. Our colors are sort of organized in such a way that you have like a base color and then you have a slightly lighter version of it immediately after. So it's like red and pink, orange and yellow, teal and green, you know, blue and cyan. So a thing I could do is I could randomly pick one of these colors and then I could add one to it and just get like the lighter shade. And so that would guarantee that this guy is always like a dark color and then a light color. But I don't know. This is pretty...
I actually liked some of those combinations that were coming up. Like, I think that the different ones work really well.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know, Vivian, what the... Oh, the pink and blue.
Oh, what'd you say?
Oh, how do you feel about these colors?
Oh.
I don't know.
I feel inspired when I see the two random colors put together. It's like, oh, I never thought to put those two colors together before. So I kind of like that.
Cool. Okay, so I'm just going to make some more. Hopefully this won't take too long.
I could watch this forever.
All right, this one's going to have a face up here. And this one will be kind of like a tall, maybe arms?
Yeah. Yes. I love how eager this guy is.
Okay, and then I should add some also detail in other colors. This arm. Cool. All right, so I refresh a couple times. You should see we should be picking from, there we go. So we have these two bases, and then you get a random set of colors for this guy. Maybe I want. Maybe that.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
Cool. Okay, so we're going to start with this for now, and we can always add more. And then
Do you think we should disallow the background color though, for
Yeah.
at least for the like primary one?
I'm wondering if we should maybe just change, like, what if we just kept it black? Because we're not using black or white. It's a little hard to see. Maybe lighter is better, yeah? Or
Yeah, I like the tan more. I always like it as a background though, so I'm biased.
Feels very welcoming.
Okay, so I'm just going to pick random from to 12. I guess that also cuts out the brown, but that's okay. Cool.
Ooh, the other thing you could do is if you want to keep the brown, you could do 2 to 14 and then just always change the tan color to some other set color.
Oh, yeah, okay. Let's do that. So I can grab out another change color. And so that means if we've set the body of it, so this dark purple, to tan, we're just going to reset it to which one of these is the best? Teal.
Okay. Yeah, that's one
You
choice.
could randomly pick it, but I don't know. Teal's a good color. Cool. I guess I could also do it after, and then we would never get tan. Okay, so now I want to add some like personality to these guys, and I think I'm going to pull in your story extension, Richard, to like just print text in like a pleasing way.
Cool. Yeah, so this extension is one that I've been kind of experimenting with, where it's for kind of doing things like cutscenes and text that are that looks like the character is saying it, as opposed to just kind of displaying static text, which is what's really easy to do in Arcade right now, but you can't really do the kind of text that gets printed as character by character.
Mm-hmm. And then the other thing I'm going to do is, so to sort of randomly generate a name, we're going to basically have like a big list and just pick things from it. And these are going to be pretty big lists. So I'm going to move all of that into a function after this finishes loading. Yeah, okay.
Sometimes it's tough to run MakeCode and Teams at the same time.
Lists. Sure. All right, so I'm going to say this one is going to be names. And then if I make it long enough, yes, it goes vertical. All right, who's got some names?
Oh, turmeric.
Cayenne.
Ooh.
Cilantro.
They can't all be edible.
Delilah. Oh, we have some comments.
Yeah, Billy
Joe.
McSniffle is
Billy
one that was suggested in the chat.
Sniffle?
It's Max Sniffle, excuse.
Oh, all right.
McSniffle is just ridiculous.
No, you're right, Vivian. I just seen it.
We have
did you say
Joe with an E.
Joe with an E.
Mm.
We also need a type of pepper. Poblano.
Mm.
Say again?
Poblano.
Poblano?
Poblano. Just add a P at the beginning.
Cool.
I think that's how you spell that.
I don't need peppers.
I believe it.
Maybe. And one more.
Ivy.
Ooh, Ivy's good. Okay. All right, cool. So then in this on start, I'm going to, well, maybe just the very beginning. I'm going to set the list. And then after we've created the player, underneath, I'm going to print the name. So I'm just going to copy the entire random select block and change the list. So instead of player base, we're going to be picking from name. And right now, so inside the story, you're going to see all of these different blocks for basically setting up scenes. So you can queue sort of a part of a story, and everything inside here will run before the next story part runs. but we're mostly going to be using these text blocks. So this is just a nice way to print text anywhere on the screen.
Real quick, Daryl is demanding that we add Bartholomew back.
Bartholomew?
Yes. This is a callback to our tag episode. So.
Okay, cool. And then I'm going to just print this at the middle of the screen for now. I think it's going to overlap with the guy a little bit. Hello. Oh, it doesn't stay. There's no way to, is there a way to keep it on screen, Richard?
I'm trying to remember. I don't think so. You can do it with a script if you set the page pause length, but it'll still go away after a while.
Okay. Let's just do that for now, and then we'll see. I can print a script, right? That'll
Yes.
work. So. All right. So a script is, I don't know, Richard, if you want to.
Yeah, so we have two blocks in the Storyboard extension to kind of make it a easy to print text, and they are print and say, and they do kind of what you think. They just kind of print the text and say, but sometimes you want to have a little more customization. And so if you use the script APIs, you can do things like have multiple pages of text. You can set the amount of time that it pauses before going to the next page. You can make it so that different lines of text print at different speeds and let you be a little bit more expressive. It's kind of like the advanced version of the print and say.
Oh, I didn't love the thing I did, though. How do I see. Gotta be this one.
Oh, I see. You were using, yeah, I got it.
Yeah, no big deal. All right, let's just do this.
No, that's going in the feedback list.
Oops, what did I do? Oh, I think the transparent color is black for some reason.
Oh. Yep, that's a bug then.
Cool. Well, we know what our background color is, so we can just do that. Billy McSniffle. And I'm going to move our player just up a little bit. So we're going to change the player's Y by and I'm just putting numbers in. So, oh yeah. Cool.
These are such good names combined with the sprites.
Okay, so and then the other thing I wanted was like we want what, favorite food and a personality item.
Yes.
So let's make some more arrays. All right, and this is just going to be foods. Okay, let's go.
Peppers.
Pizza. Beef Wellington.
Water.
Water?
Like, stay hydrated.
That's true.
Maybe that's
Sometimes,
maybe water's a personality trait. Teriyaki.
Gosh, why can't I think of any foods?
Chicken enchiladas. We have udon in the comments.
That's a good one.
Noodles.
Okay, so then I'm just going to make another script and print it at a slightly lower location, if that seems reasonable to folks.
Yeah. If you wanted, you could put this into a function.
That is true. Yeah, let's do that. Can I though? I need to give it the array.
Well,
Yes,
you could
okay.
put the,
I
you
could just
could
give
pass
it
in,
the
yeah.
string. Yeah. And it's going to take in the text. Nice. And then I'm going to also pass it the X and Y position to print it at. These are different locations.
Yeah, so we just got a question in the chat. Can you quickly cover how you found the story extension? So Storyboard is different. This one hasn't been published yet, so you kind of just have to know the URL. But I will drop the URL in the chat, and we will put it in the description of the video. So you can try it out.
Yeah.
I will possibly be making some changes to it, though. So if you find any issues, please post about it on the forum, because I will be iterating on this before we kind of make it an official MakeCode extension.
Yeah, and a good way, so that's how, if you go to Advanced, you can click Extensions, and up here you can just enter the URL, and that will load the story extension. At sort of a higher level, we found it because Richard made it, but a good way to hear about these things is if you go to our forums. So forum.makecode.com. People will post about extensions that they're working on. They'll ask for feedback. We take suggestions if someone's like, oh, it'd be really useful to have this in Arcade, all of that. All right, and then, cool. So this is a print text function. It sets, I should rename this, to text. And it sets this variable to a script. It sets this pause length so that the script stays on screen for a while, and then it prints it at the specified X and Y location. Maybe we'll need Z. We haven't yet, so I'm leaving that for now. And then inside our onStart, I'm going to call this function. Cool. And then I can just duplicate this entire function call and change the array that we're picking from. So instead of names, we're going to be picking foods. And I think I'm going to also have to do a join. And then same X position, and then the Y position is going to be slightly. We could do that by math. We should. Sorry?
It's like your favorite food is all foods except peppers.
Yes. What, plus 16? Oh no, that's good. 70 good. Cool. And then I'm going to add a, just so we know what the food is, I'm going to add a label to it. So under text, we have this join block, which we use a lot. You might have seen for debugging, just to print out like a number, but you can also use it to actually join two strings together. I think this might be a bit long, but we'll see.
If we had emojis, then we could do a heart instead of favorite.
What if I just said food? Is that
Food.
Makes it like
Kind of makes it sound like that's the only thing that they can eat to survive, but I like it.
Wouldn't that be such a nice life if you just had to eat your favorite food?
Mm-hmm. Kind of reminds me of Gremlins. It's like the rules, you know, for the Mogwai.
Food spaghetti. All right, and then one more. So this will just be like a short sentence. So I'm going to duplicate this block, and I'm going to set a new variable. Can you guys hear the noises outside?
Not really.
Okay. All right, and so this is just going to be like a one sentence personality thing.
Okay.
It's really fast.
Yeah, that's a good one. Afraid of stairs.
There's a lot to be afraid of. You could fall down them. You could fall up them.
Caffeinated.
Oh man, caffeinated.
Light enough to be carried by a balloon. By a balloon? Is that too long?
I could do lighter than air.
Oh.
Yeah. We got loves programming from the chat.
Mm. Melts in rain.
Water soluble.
Oh man. Soluble.
Low frequency.
Cool. All right.
We got one more, which is not a robot.
Oh, I love that.
It's specifically, I am not a robot.
There we go. And I don't think I need a join, so I'm just going to duplicate this again. And change this to traits. List of traits. Let's see. What do we get? Oh, shoot. Don't wait for it to load. Delilah needs water. Yes.
It's good because runners need water.
Chicken enchiladas.
Richard, this one's you.
I'm not afraid of stairs. Thank you very much.
You've said it an awful lot of times.
Okay, so we've made this. Okay, I'm gonna add another template just so we have a little more variety. And then I don't know, what do you guys think we should do next? We can brainstorm.
Yeah, it's a good question. We could like, what do we want the gameplay of the game to be? You mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of like that we have this character generation going, and it would be kind of fun if we just kind of walked around and met other people, other randomly generated characters.
Yeah, that's pretty good. A thing that I had thought of, but I don't really know how to work it in, is if you could also, if we had like an array of like weapons or items, so like it's like a sword or a rake or whatever, and then you could pick one, or there was like a choice of two and you could pick one from it or something. But I don't really know what to do with that. Like what do you do once you have it?
What if when you're talking to people, they give you a parting gift and it's like a toothbrush or a can of hairspray?
How are we
Just like
feeling
in real
about
life.
this guy?
Ooh, scary.
I like it a lot.
Yeah.
Daryl suggests that we do random relationship generation. Maybe Bartholomew is having a feud with Joe and his brothers to Cayenne.
Ooh. Yeah. So like you meet the another randomly generated character, and then you also have like a relationship, like status or whatever. Cool.
I mean, honestly, these characters are cute enough that you could probably just make it a game where you walk around and meet people, and it would be.
I kind of feel like the faces should be surrounded by something. I don't know. Is it weird when they just stick out?
I think it makes sense for life. Like, some people are like this, and some people are like this.
All right. And
At least because we watched Spirited Away.
That's true. These are very.
Instinctively.
All right.
That's great.
Definitely not a robot.
Makes me think you are a robot.
Cool. Okay. So so now we have to exit this screen. Let me move all of this text stuff to the side. Yeah, so the reason all of this list stuff is in a function is so that I can just sort of hide it over here, and then we don't ever have to touch it again. All right. So, what do you think? When the player presses A, we should put them into like a world, and then we should spawn some characters. So maybe I'm going to move all of this character stuff also into a function, or I'm going to move this image stuff into a function.
What if when you talk to the characters, they go like, boy, I really wish I had A, and then food item entered.
And or like maybe everybody has their own thing, and you have to like match them back up with the things that they want? That's cute.
Oh, I see. Like connect them with each other as they.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, perfect. Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna say I'm actually gonna make this function take a sprite, and we're gonna just set its image. So. All right, and then I'm just gonna move all of this over. The array doesn't need to be, but it's nice to have it in place. All right, and then instead of creating the sprite, I'm going to set the image. So I'm gonna need to move this block back actually. Set sprite image to this. And then here also, instead of the player, I'm going to be using whatever sprite we pass in. And so the idea is we can make a bunch of sprites and use this same, random code. So we've made to sprite kind player. I'm just going to delete this. And I'm going to call this function with the player. So set random sprite image, the player, and that should do it. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So, I guess I could put this all in a story part, or I think we want to exit when the user triggers it though, right?
Sure, yeah.
So maybe I'll just make a variable. Okay. False, and then on A button pressed, if you have not started the game, then you will start. Let me zoom in a little bit. Realize the not block.
If you're having trouble dropping blocks into the wrong place, try beta. Hopefully, though, we're going to be updating soon with the beta stuff to the release. So the improved drag and drop behavior will be for everybody. But until then, beta has it. Though there might be other bugs. So keep that in mind.
All right, so when you start the game, I'm going to move the player with buttons and also have the camera follow the player. Camera follow the player. And then I need to set a tile map and also clear this text, right?
Yeah, also, I think you're setting start game to false.
Oh, this is in the, yes, you're right. Cool. All right, so initially I can drag and the player doesn't move, and then I press the A button. Oh, geez. What did I do? Oh, yeah, okay, right. There's no background, so the camera is centered around the player who is moving. And do these, is there a way to clear all the scripts or? Clear scene, that will delete my player. Okay, let's leave it for now. Tile map. So I'm going to draw like some clearings, I guess. And then we'll put some characters around them.
Ooh, yeah, I like it.
All right. And fill it with grass. Whoops. Cool. I'm just going to do kind of a quick job. Oh, no. With these. Cool. And then I'm going to make some placeholder tiles for where we're putting our other characters, our NPCs. And they can just be standing. Put this one in the grass. This one's in the dirt. This one's also in the grass. Cool. All right, so I'm gonna press the A button. Oops.
Oh yeah, okay, wait. I have an idea. So what we could do is if the if you talk to someone, they say like, I really like this. Do you know anyone else who likes that? And then they'll start following you. And then you go and talk to the other ones until you find one that likes the same thing, and then they just become buds.
Oh. Cool. Okay. Yeah. A game about friendship.
Mm-hmm.
Here's my text function. Cool. So then on top of each of these, I'm not going to be able to fill in the, the background will show through the places where I'm replacing the characters, but.
No, you can set it because you don't need to read it again. So you can just set it to be the background tile.
Oh yeah, well no, because it's different. Some of them are dirt and some of them are grass.
Oh, set it to whatever tile is to the right.
On the. Okay, yeah, I think that will work. Let me quickly ensure that that will work. Cool, perfect. All right, so then I'm going to go over each of these purple tiles, which is a where we're going to put like a new.
Yeah. Also, if you don't want to do the math, we could just make it so that there's two different spawn tiles.
That also works. Yeah, let's do that one. All right. So teal for the grass, so that they're sort of similar in color, and then purple for dirt. So then if I go into scene, I can grab an array of all of this kind of tile. And so we'll start with purple, and then on top of each of these, I want to place a random villager, maybe with some data about the villager, and then cover up this tile. So we can do the tile. Right, if it's purple, then we want it to be dirt. And then I'm going to create a sprite. And I'm going to make a new kind, which is NPC. And a new variable, which is villager. And then if I call my function to set random sprite image, I should be able to set the villager to this randomly generated image. And I'm going to place the villager on top of this tile. So place my sprite on top of random Nope. Place my sprite on top of. Cool. And so I'm going to place the villager on top of this tile map location. All right. And then if I duplicate this, let's do it again, but for the green tiles, which will be replaced with grass. All right. So this is Joe. They eat peppers and they are water soluble. And here's a bunch of other people.
This is great.
All right. So the plan is when you overlap someone, when you talk to someone else, they will tell you that they want a friend who likes the same food as them.
Yeah.
And then
Sounds good. Or they could look for someone who is also water soluble.
That's true. Cool. So in order to do that, I'm going to, I guess just in here, I'm going to add another extension, which is the Sprite data extension. So at the very bottom here, Arcade Sprite data. And that will allow us to sort of save different values on top of specific sprites. So it's useful for when we have a bunch of sprites that are all the same kind. So they're all NPCs, but they have different like personality traits or names.
Yep, we've also used it a lot in the past for health on sprites. So if you have like a bunch of enemies, it's sometimes useful to be able to set a health on them.
So after I've added that extension, I can go into my sprites category and I'm going to see this new data section, which has all of these blocks. And so I'm going to save as a string. And it's going to be, let's do food for now.
Yeah, I think so.
Food to, and then I'm going to grab my code for picking a random food. Which is over in the start function. So I'm going to duplicate all of this. All right, so this will set the villager data food to a string, which is a random value from the array of foods. And I'm going to also do it for these grass villagers. Cool. And then for now, I'm going to say when the player overlaps with an NPC, I'm just going to have them say their favorite food. Say overlaps. Other kind NPC. I'm going to have the other sprite say, and then if I go back to this area of data blocks, I can read the food as a string. So this is the other sprite, which is our NPC's property as a string. All right. So this is Willow, loves spaghetti, and also programming.
She kind of looks like spaghetti.
And if I overlap, pizza, chicken enchiladas.
Oh.
Ooh, potential friends.
Another pizza.
Wow. This is a really good example that does not at all illustrate the issue I was going to bring up, which is how do we guarantee that there are villagers who like the same food?
Well, Udon wouldn't have a friend.
Yeah, which is a shame.
Okay, so I think I'm going to code the follow first, and then maybe we can cycle back and guarantee. Because I think follow should be fast. So I'm going to go into sprites, and it should be, is it not in sprites?
I saw it at the top, I think.
Yeah, I think it is.
Ah, got it. Yes. All right, so the sprite is actually going to say, what should they say? I guess this is already kind of long, but.
I want to get some, and it could be like their food with somebody.
Oh,
Yeah, you could use the other say if you want to have it be a little longer.
Oh, yes. Perfect. Yeah, I forgot that we had the nice one. Cool.
The nice thing about the say block from the storyboard one is that if your text is really long, it'll break it into lines, and if it's even longer, it'll break it into multiple pages. So.
Sweet. Okay. And then Vivian, it was I want to get some.
Want to get some and then their food. And should we say with somebody?
Okay. Basil loves peppers, not a robot. All right. Oh. The overlaps code.
So what's happening here is that when you overlap with a sprite, it's going to run that code once for every single frame that the overlap happens. So this is causing the sprite to say so many messages that it would probably crash the game if it went on for much longer.
Right. Okay. So I think maybe I'll just change the kind of it to a sprite.
I think that's a good idea.
Set.
It's at the bottom. Or no, it's not. Yeah.
The other
image is the one at the bottom.
Yeah. Okay, so an NPC that you've talked to is now a friend.
I'm glad you didn't say it to food.
Cool. Billy McSniffle likes noodles, loves programming. So spaghetti, and then boy.
So one way you could make it so that they don't overlap with each other is you can turn off the move sprite while it's printing, and then in another Q story part, turn the move sprite back on with the controller. So basically, you lock the controls until it's done printing, then the player can move again afterwards. So that way you can only do one at a time.
Yes. And then I'm also going to set the follow to be after, so that the sprite isn't walking and talking at the same time. Cool. Q story part. And and the way to turn this off is, I guess, just to set it to something that's not a sprite.
If you press plus, you need to set it to 0.
Oh, perfect. Cool. Bartholomew. So many of these are not robots. All right, so now I can't move. I get some noodles, and then they're following. All right, so I'm gonna also set the Z index of the player so that you're on top of all of your friends, just to ensure that you can always see the player. All right, and the very last part is we want to say if two of them who like the same food meet each other, they should stop following you and disappear.
Yes, I think they should stop following them. You should turn on auto destroy and just set the velocity to go up, and then they'll just kind of walk away together and then disappear.
Cool.
Cute.
All right, so I'm gonna do this in an overlaps. hopefully. So they're both friends because you've talked to both of them. And then I'm going to check to see if the food that they like is equal, so if it's the same. And I can check that by grabbing the property we've saved on the sprite data. Cool. So the first one's food as a string, and then the second one. Okay, so if they like the same food, then
change the kind again to satisfied friend.
Just had it. There we go. And then how do we do a stop following?
I don't know. Seems like something Joey would have thought of, though. Joey's the one who implemented follow.
I could set the follow velocity to 0, I guess, and then they would go and destroy themselves.
I don't know. Look in the, try searching follow in the toolbox search, and we'll see if there's a stop follow.
Oh, I don't think there's a block for it. Yeah. Okay. So.
Well, you can probably just drag out that my sprite.
Let's see.
Okay, yeah, so Daryl says you can either set it to 0 or you can set it to null. Both of those work.
Okay, cool.
But I think that, yeah, just making it blank should do the trick.
All right, so we'll set both of these to not follow anybody, and then I'm going to set the velocity on both of them and the lifespan on both of them. Oh boy, this could theoretically be a function, but.
All right. I think we should let Shannon focus on the programming because we're getting close to the end. So Vivian, let's come up with a name for this game.
Oh man. I was thinking it could either be like not a robot game or food friends. What do you think, Richard?
Not a robot game, I think, is even more general than our weird made-up names usually are. I like food friends though. Could it be like find my friends, but instead we do find my food friends?
Yeah.
All right. Turmeric likes to read. A fun thing would be if you got there really fast and then you actually moved faster.
Ooh. Fast food friends.
I kind of like fast food friends, even though not all of our foods are.
All right, so we found a match, and they instantly went off on their food date.
Oh, I didn't even notice.
One match in this bunch. All right.
All right,
Cool.
I came up with a way to do the matching if you are interested.
Oh, sure. Yes. Is it doable in 5 minutes?
Yes.
Awesome.
So instead of setting it like you are right now, instead what you do is you just set the food on the overlap event, and then set the food on one other sprite that hasn't had its food set yet to be the same thing.
Okay. Cool.
So instead of when we create the villager setting the food, what we're going to do is basically choose it at the overlap time, and then set the food for another villager to be the same thing. So it'll always be guaranteed that there is a match, except for the odd one out.
Yes. Okay.
Maybe they could be your buddy.
Yeah. The last one is your friend.
Oh.
All right. So on overlaps, I'm going to grab the food. I'm going to set it to this, and I'm going to do a get favorite food. And then I'm also going to grab another villager. So one that we haven't met yet, which we can guarantee because it's a, it'll be an NPC. So I can get array of sprites of kind of NPC. And I'm just going to take the first one, I guess.
For the last one, that might cause an exception.
Yes.
But we can check for that pretty easily if we just say, if we set it there, and then we can do an if on the variable, which you can do in blocks. That's totally fine. It's a fun little trick that kind of comes from JavaScript. If something is null or undefined, which, for example, if you get a value from an array that doesn't exist, that's what you'll get. Then if you put an if statement, you can just put the variable right in there, and it will evaluate to true if it exists or false if it doesn't. So it's a nice little trick.
All right, so if we have, and this is all player, NPC, it will grab another NPC and set that data food to favorite food.
Yep. I think there's one change you need to make though. Well, two changes. One, you set villager for the data.
Yes, and then I also need to do a check, right?
Yeah.
All right, so the NPC, we're setting the food, we're setting the NPC to friend, we're grabbing another NPC, we're setting that food to favorite food, and then we're going to check to see, before we do all of this, we're going to check to see if the NPC already has a favorite food.
Yep. And so real quick, because we're probably going to have to end this really quick, which was worth it, I think, because this game is pretty cool. But stay tuned after this, because Jacqueline is going to be doing MakeCode in the kitchen.
Yes. Goodness. We have the, don't we have the has?
You can just use the get.
Will it, won't it convert to be a string or?
Yeah, but it'll just be the empty string, I hope.
Okay.
Or null. I hope that it's not going to put in like, does not exist.
Doesn't want that.
If you put it into a variable, it'll work.
I'll just do a not equals and hope. Oh, wait, no, that won't work. Okay. All right, so while I'm finishing this up, thank you guys for joining us. Stay tuned, as Richard said. And I'm Shannon. I'm at Shakao on the MakeCode forums.
I'm Richard, at Richard on the MakeCode forums.
And I'm Vivian, at Live Cheerful on the MakeCode forums.
And Daryl is our silent streamer who is hosting this.
Cool. All right. I will share this game.
Okay, you guys are...
Oh.
Yeah.